Welcome to Smart Updates, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you are new here, do not forget to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an update. This is gonna blow your mind. Alright, let's get after it. Major breaking news tonight. A federal appellate court has just delivered a unanimous ruling that could reshape gun laws nationwide. The case, firearm suppressors and their regulation under the National Firearms Act, or NFA. What makes this a true bombshell is the timing. Just hours after the Department of Justice completely reversed its long-held legal position on this very issue. The DOJ, after decades defending the NFA, suddenly declared its own arguments unconstitutional. Then, almost immediately, the court issued a powerful, unanimous decision. This isn't coincidence. It's a seismic shift in federal policy and constitutional interpretation, all in a single day. Why does it matter? This ruling strikes at the heart of the federal government's power to regulate firearms and their accessories. The NFA has been the bedrock of federal gun control since the 1930s. Now, that foundation is shaking. The decision opens the door to challenges against other long-standing firearm regulations. The administration is now facing a crisis of its own making, and political battle lines are being drawn at lightning speed. The big question: how did the DOJ switch sides on a century-old law overnight? Sources say there's intense pressure and deep ideological divides within the department. This wasn't just a legal reevaluation, it was a political decision. With the court's ruling amplifying that move, the stage is set for an epic confrontation involving the courts, Congress, and the executive branch. And you, the American people, are right in the middle of this escalating fight over the Second Amendment. Let's clarify what's at stake. A firearm suppressor, often called a silencer in movies, doesn't make a gunshot silent. It just reduces the noise, like a muffler for a car. Suppressors make shooting less damaging to hearing, but the shot is still loud, often louder than a jackhammer. So, why are they so heavily regulated? Enter the National Firearms Act of 1934. Passed during the gangster era, the NFA targeted weapons favored by criminals: machine guns, short-barreled shotguns, and suppressors. The law didn't ban these outright, but made them expensive and difficult to obtain. To buy a suppressor legally, you must media, ATF headquarters building, person submitting documents at government office. Apply to the ATF. Submit fingerprints and photos. Undergo a lengthy background check. And pay a $200 tax, a huge sum in 1934. The process is slow, expensive, and designed to deter ownership. The core legal debate: are suppressors dangerous tools that warrant strict control, or just hearing protection devices? Supporters of the NFA say suppressors make it harder to detect shooters, threatening public safety. Opponents argue the NFA process infringes on the rights of law-abiding citizens who want to protect their hearing. This fundamental disagreement has now exploded onto the national stage. The new ruling and DOJ reversal have reignited the debate. The question: should suppressors be treated as dangerous weapons or as common safety equipment? The answer could reshape gun laws for decades, and that's why this moment matters. To understand today's battle, let's rewind. Suppressors were invented in 1909 by Hiram Percy Maxim and were once sold in hardware stores for hunting and target practice. For decades, there were no federal regulations. That changed in the 1930s, as Congress responded to gangster violence with the National Firearms Act. Suppressors were lumped in with machine guns and short-barreled rifles, seen as tools for criminals and poachers. The $200 tax and complex registration process made suppressors rare and stigmatized. For half a century, ownership was limited to collectors and specialists. The issue stayed dormant until the last 20 years, when gun rights groups began rebranding suppressors as safety devices. They pointed to Europe, where suppressors are lightly regulated and sometimes required for hunting. Several states legalized suppressor ownership, but the federal NFA process remained. This set the stage for today's legal challenge. Now, the debate is front and center. The DOJ's role is at the heart of this story. For 90 years, the DOJ defended the NFA, arguing suppressors were dangerous and needed strict control. That changed overnight. In a brief letter, the DOJ announced it would no longer defend the NFA's application to suppressors, calling its previous arguments wrong. No detailed legal reasoning, just a declaration of reversal. This is the legal equivalent of dropping charges mid-trial. Legal experts and political analysts are stunned. The executive branch has unilaterally decided a law passed by Congress is unconstitutional, without waiting for the Supreme Court. Critics call it a political stunt, supporters call it a correction of constitutional rights. Either way, it's a whiplash moment. The move raises questions about separation of powers and the future of gun regulation. The legal and political system is now in chaos. The fallout is just beginning. The DOJ's reversal was just the start. Hours later, a federal appellate court issued a unanimous ruling, requiring citizens to pay a tax and undergo a lengthy process to own a suppressor is unconstitutional. The court said suppressors are common accessories used for lawful purposes, mainly hearing protection. The judges compared the NFA tax to poll taxes, unconstitutional barriers to exercising a right. If background checks are for safety, the government can't charge a fee for a constitutional right. The ruling is binding only in certain states, but its influence is national. It creates a circuit split. Different federal courts now have conflicting rulings on the same issue. That's a recipe for Supreme Court review. Gun rights groups are celebrating and preparing more lawsuits. Gun control advocates are in crisis mode, demanding the DOJ fight back. The legal battle is far from over. The Supreme Court is now in the spotlight. The stakes couldn't be higher. Lawmakers reacted instantly and bitterly. One side hails the ruling as a historic win for freedom, calling for repeal of the NFA and more deregulation. The other side is furious, accusing the DOJ of abandoning its duty and colluding with the gun lobby. Some demand congressional hearings, even impeachment of the Attorney General. Congress now faces a choice: accept the court's decision or try to rewrite the law. This is a classic separation of powers struggle. Who decides what the law is? The White House is caught in the crossfire, forced to choose between supporting the DOJ or risking a political crisis. Every move has huge political consequences. The ruling has forced politicians to take sides on an issue many would rather avoid. The courts and Congress are now on a collision course. The outcome will shape the future of gun regulation. Washington is in turmoil. The nation is watching. This isn't just a legal fight. It's fueling America's culture war over guns. For millions, the ruling is a victory against government overreach and a win for the Second Amendment. For others, it's terrifying, a step toward more gun violence and less public safety. The debate is deeply polarized, with no middle ground. Suppressors are either strictly controlled or not. There's no halfway. The ruling forces everyone to pick a side, deepening the national divide. It's not just about policy, it's about personal safety and the kind of country we want. Gun owners feel vindicated. Teachers and parents feel more vulnerable. Both sides' fears and hopes are real. The conversation is more urgent, more emotional, and more personal than ever. Communities are split and the tension is rising. This is no longer an abstract debate. The stakes are immediate and personal. What's next? Hopes and fears are running high. Gun owners hope this ruling sparks a domino effect, challenging more gun laws and normalizing suppressors for safety. Some believe removing the stigma could lead to more productive conversations about real solutions, like mental health and secure storage. On the other side, gun control advocates fear this will make shootings deadlier and erode all federal gun safety laws. There's a deeper fear that government is broken, with agencies refusing to enforce laws and courts legislating from the bench. Many worry special interests now outweigh the will of the people. The result? A growing sense of hopelessness and distrust in democracy. The debate isn't just about guns, it's about faith in our institutions. The outcome will shape not just policy but public trust. The stakes are bigger than any single law. America's future is on the line. So, what's next? The coming weeks will be critical. Watch the DOJ. Will the Attorney General be called before Congress? Will the department defend its reversal or backtrack? The fallout inside the DOJ and for the administration will be huge. Watch the courts. This case isn't over. Appeals and a possible Supreme Court showdown are coming. Watch Congress. Expect a flood of bills, both to repeal the NFA and to reinforce it. The legislative fight will be fierce. Most importantly, watch the American people. Protests, rallies, and town halls will shape the debate. This issue will dominate the next election cycle. The ultimate decision may come from voters, not judges or politicians. The road ahead is uncertain, but the debate is just beginning. We'll be here to cover every twist and turn. Stay informed, stay engaged. The future of gun laws and democracy itself is at stake.